with this message. I believe that to be great, somewhere along the line, you have got to experience times of discomfort. And then there's a lesson to follow. So when I first started, I mentioned that I had an internship with Mark Kepler. That was my first clinical assignment at the University of Pittsburgh. He was working at Carnegie Mellon University. And I only really had known my father at that point as an athletic trainer, and I was just getting started in the program. Well, Mark inspired me. Because I don't know whether you guys know about Mark and that shoestring budget we had at CMU, but he was so creative. And he had such dire passion for his job as the athletic trainer at CMU. He'd make his own orthotics, and he'd stay there late at night getting this material just right. And he wasn't sponsored, didn't have coolers, so he had this whole system that he took with these Coke canisters that he put a little bit of CO2 in so you could fill cups real quick on the sideline, and he built carts and all. A magician, an absolute freaking magician. And I loved working for him. And we went 12-0. And we beat Bucknell. We were Division III. And we got into the Alonzo Stagg playoffs, and because Mark didn't have a staff, he had a student, myself, he had another student from Pitt, and then he had a couple of people that were trying to go through the internship route that had real jobs. And so Mark and I are going to go with our football team to Salisbury, Maryland, and play Salisbury State. And we're going to take a commercial flight. And of course, Mark and I are in charge of getting all that equipment on a commercial flight with tags and everything, and cheap it out. So we go there and we lose on the last play of the game. We call it on offensive pass interference on our tight end. We lose the game. We come back and he and I unload the truck. And at CMU, real old building, there's two doors there. Door to the training room and then a door to a storage room. So I'm going in the storage room. Mark's trying to go in the door of the training room. And the doorknob comes off his door. And of course, because I'm a jackass, I laugh. And he turns and throws the doorknob inches above my head. And I ducked and I put the stuff away and I went back to my fraternity house, and I was pissed. And I laid in bed that night and I said, did I not do a good enough job for that guy? Why would anybody throw a doorknob at somebody? And then I realized that it's just his passion. The guy worked his tail off, and he can't even get a door that works. He wasn't mad at me. He's mad at how hard he worked at it. And I laid in bed that night and I said, you know what? If I ever have the opportunity to be the head athletic trainer at CMU or anywhere else, I'm going to have that passion. And so what I did was I scooped up that doorknob. And that doorknob right there has traveled with me all over this country. And it's been on my desk everywhere I've worked to remind me that even when it sucks, you better be passionate. So Mark, you want your doorknob back? Because you can't have it back. It means way too much to me because it reminds me of you, so thank you. My second uncomfortable story is Charlie Thompson was really my mentor at Pitt, and I don't know why he handpicked me, but he wanted me to be successful, and he wanted me to get involved in politics with PATS, and he's kind of the guy that convinced me to run to be the PFATS president, and Charlie's been in my corner for a long time. So Charlie got me ready for the NATA exam, and Donato Colucci, some of you guys know Guido and I we were going to travel from Pittsburgh to Cumberland Valley High School to take the exam, and Charlie said there's spring football. He said, stop up at the stadium and see me before you leave. So we go up there, we get out of the car, we shake his hand, we say we're leaving, and he says, looks us dead in the eyes, and he says, don't disappoint me. So for the next 24 hours, I have this voice in my head that says, don't disappoint me. And so then I get to the exam, and I find out they're having trouble giving me the exam because it used to be the practical part, you couldn't know the candidate. A legendary father who lives 20 minutes from Cumberland Valley High School. So now the pressure's really on. And of course, I I did my deal and I passed the test, but I thought about like all the way down there, and then it dawned on me after the test, why would Charlie say, "Don't disappoint me"? Like, it's almost like Field of Dreams, like go the distance, don't disappoint me. That still rings in my head. And the reason is because he thinks, and he's taught us all this, that pressure makes you excel. And so now in my daily life, whether it's raising those two beauties right there, or I'm taking care of T.O., or I'm doing something for Andy Reid, I realize that there's more people out there than you that depend on your job. So that test was about me, but it wasn't about me. It was about everybody who had taken care of me up to that point, and that's Charlie. He didn't want to intimidate me. He wanted to let me know there's a lot of people relying on you to pass that test so you can go to Arizona and be a GA. And so I appreciate that from Charlie. And every time I go to a press conference, I think about that because I don't ever want to disappoint you guys. I want to stand up there and raise the banner for athletic training and make sure the world knows who we are. The third item of discomfort for me, and I've had more than these 3 or 4 things, but the third one was when I became president of Professional Football Athletic Trainers Society, I addressed the 400-pound gorilla in the room that we didn't have any female athletic trainers we didn't have any female athletic trainers in the NFL except one. And to stand up in front of 129 men and 1 woman and tell them that we need to change our cultures was not the easiest thing, but it was pretty fulfilling in my life. So to give you a little history, what happened was I felt very strongly about the fact that our president, Jim Thornton, had told me, hey, you know, 3 out of 4 students right now are female. You better get your ass in gear in the NFL and get this thing right. And so I took it on as my one of my problems. Also, the intel that I had in the NFL told me that Roger Goodell was trying to put more women in the National Football League. Referees, coaches, administrators. Well, he doesn't know that we have 3 out of 4 students as females. So I put together this little meeting with Goodell and 4 of the certified athletic trainers in the National Football League, one of them being Sonia Geisling from the Steelers, the only female we had. I said, look, I know you got some stuff that I want to the commissioner, and there is some things that we need as athletic trainers. I said, I can help you. And he said, what can you do for me? And I said, 3 out of 4 of our students are females. We can load these training rooms up with female athletic trainers. And he said, okay, give me the names of 32 best female athletic trainers in the country, and I'll get them hired right now in the National Football League. And I go, time out. You obviously don't understand what we're about. I said, let's take Sally Nogle, for instance, at Michigan State. She's not leaving to come be the 4th assistant at the Kansas City Chiefs, okay? So take the number 1 off your list. So he goes, well, how are we going to do this? And I said, here's how we're going to do it. We did it in 1985 with minorities. So we did ethnic minority scholarship. We got the NFL to give us $1,000 each. Each team, $1,000. Ethnic minority goes to training camp, gets the scholarship, and gets put into your farm system. Well, right now, the National Athletic Trainers Association, about 12.7% of our membership's ethnic minority. In the National Football League, it's 27%. Hey, how'd that farm system work there, Raj? Pretty good, right? He said, well, where's that scholarship now? I said, as a matter of fact, you guys took that scholarship from us. He said, all right, let me give you the $32,000 for the ethnic minority scholarship, and I'll give you $32,000 more for females in athletic training. So we're rolling right now. And before I left the meeting, because I'm a little bit like my dad, I told him, I said, I'll have 15 female certified athletic trainers on NFL teams by 2020. And so we're at 5 right now, but we're going up. So you may ask, Rick, why would you do that? Why would you put yourself out there? I told our membership when I spoke about it and unveiled the whole deal what we were going to do, I said, you're aware of the fact that a female will be the next head athletic trainer at the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm okay with that. I just want it good when I leave. And the chances are that a student right now who's a female is the best person to replace me, and I'm okay with that. And if you're not okay with that, you need to check yourself. That's what I told our guys. But here's why I did it. Because it's easy to be successful. It's hard to be significant. And so we're all granted all these leadership roles, Hall of Fames, distinguished merit. Make yourself significant. Anybody can be successful. Make yourself significant. I hope that I'm a significant president of Professional Football Athletic Trainers Society, and I hope that our athletic training group in the NFL is represented by the best athletic trainers, not the best male athletic trainers. And finally, on a discomfort note, was my move to Kansas City. So I uprooted this family. We moved to the prairie. My wife thought we were like the Ingalls or something, you know. So no idea where we're going to move, right? Hard deal. I'm going to tell you, the football's the same. Football is absolutely the same. We just wear red jerseys. I know exactly what we're doing on Thursday. It's the same as Philadelphia. It's just we wear red jerseys, right? What I didn't know when I was taking that job, how many people I left behind 1,500 miles away. It's been the hardest thing for me move-wise. This Pennsylvania athletic training community is special. Please do not take it for granted. You are a special bunch. And I miss pizza and I miss Wawa, but I miss you guys the most. And it's been uncomfortable, but it's taught me to cherish the friendships I have professionally. And I look so forward to the national meetings when I get to see all of you. I will close with a couple things. Matthew Kelly, the author of a book called Rhythm for Life, said, "The people we surround ourselves with either raise or lower our standards. They either help us become the best version of ourselves or encourage us to become lesser versions of ourselves. We become like our friends. No man becomes great on his own. No woman becomes great on her own. The people around them help to make them great." We all need people in our lives who raise our standards, remind us of our essential purpose, and challenge us to become the best version of ourselves. You all have done that for me, so I say thank you. And finally, when I speak to young athletic training groups, I tell them, love this profession. It will love you back. I love all of you, and thank you so much for loving me back. Thank you.